Hey traders, let's take a moment to thank and feature one of our top sponsors, FX2 Funding. If you're looking to get funded, listen up. FX2 is offering traders the chance to trade with up to $200,000 in simulated capital and receive up to 85% of their results. If you're interested in getting started, use the link being dropped in the chat or the link down in the description below. If you pass the evaluation, you'll receive your feedback and gain access to your new account. FX2 allows traders access to a wide range of assets and allows traders to hold their trades over the weekend. FX2 is giving A1 Trading Show fans 15% off the evaluation fee if you use promo code A1Trading15. So if you'd like to learn more, again, use the link being dropped in the chat or the link down in the description below and use code A1Trading15 at checkout for a discount on any of their evaluations. Now back to the show.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another live stream and starting up fresh here. We are right back into the thick of it, and I'm going to just have to start out with announcing that I am going to be taking another trade. My oil trade, my stop loss was a little bit tight, and I'm back into another oil trade as of now. I'm just going to update people in just a second here. So bear with me here as I get this set up. I'm rejoining my oil trade. Really nice, strong price action here this morning. And I'm going to show you guys where I'm at with that in just a moment. So just bear with me here. Okay. All right. This is a very busy morning, guys. And sometimes these streams fall right in the middle of when I'm taking a trade myself or something like that. So bear with me. I'm going long oil again. I'm rejoining my trade that I was stopped out of for a small loss yesterday. I think, like I said, my stop was just a little bit tight, and we are right back into it. I'm going to retry here on my oil, re-entering my oil long. Stops below previous lows of the strong price action this morning with buyers stepping back in. So I think I was a bit early with my previous entry. Now seeing more confirmation. Okay, so I'm getting back into my oil trade here. So let me go ahead and clarify this. We just entered back in here. My stop is below the lows. The idea here is we have a nice bullish engulfing off of this area. And again, when I say early, let me clarify this. My idea with oil is that I liked this area here, but it does seem like price ended up testing a little bit lower into this consolidation looking left. So if I mark this out, let me show you this, guys. So this is where I entered yesterday with my oil longs, which, like I said, they didn't work out so well. But we came down to this area here, and I'm loving the bounce. So I've decided to go ahead and pick up my position again. So I am back in oil on the long side. And idea here is I'm still bullish. I had plans to re-enter anyways if I got stopped out. And I love this level of support. So yeah, some people caught it at a better price than I did. Some people didn't. If you took the trade, then as long as you have your own reasons for taking it. The point of these streams is not copy and paste trading. That is not what we're here to do. But yeah, we are sharing ideas, and with that, sometimes that entails me showing my positions and trades that I'm taking. So I am long oil. We'll see if we can catch a little bit better of a run here on the oil market going forward. Hope everybody is doing well. Yesterday was a crazy busy day, and we're right back into it. We have a massive news week this week. Let me show you what we're kind of looking at here this morning, guys. We'll take a look at Forex Factory for a moment. And what we can see here is that we've got, first of all, we had news out of the UK. And this is massive. The forecast was for a rate hike, guys. The UK, the pound, wow. So here's the thing. This is actually huge news. The interest rate decision yesterday of the United States was pretty as expected. It's rare in the central bank world that we get like a huge deviance from what was expected. Is that a word, deviance? variation, unexpected numbers. Yesterday or this morning, we got something out of the UK. This is really big news, and this is incredibly bearish for the pound. If I wasn't bearish before, which I was, I am certainly bearish now on the pound. This is a massive bearish piece of information that came out of the UK this morning at 7 o'clock US Eastern, guys. Yes, we have news in 10 minutes, but I'm telling you, this is really big news out of the Bank of England. Why? They were expected to raise their interest rates. They held them at only 5.25% despite their inflationary pressures and problems. That's a massive bearish factor for the pound. And is it being reflected in the pound's price this morning? Absolutely. Let's pull up the pound USD and I'll show you guys. Let me add the pound. The pound needs to be back on my watch list. What are you doing, Nick? Put it back on there. There it is. Pound is back on the watch list here today. Short side, still bearish. I haven't been taking any pound shorts, but I've been bearish on the pound for a while. As you can see from my price action, I mean, if you did these markups with us, if you caught any of these retests here, congratulations. This is just rinsing to the downside. Pound is getting totally beat up off of the back of all this stuff here from the UK. Now, if you're not familiar with fundamentals, if you're newer to that stuff here, first of all, I want to invite you, if you just wandered into the stream, if you're new here, can you do me a favor and just let us know? Type like I'm here or like I'm new in the chat. Like if you let us know, everybody in the chat who's a regular, I know a lot of you guys are regular viewers. Let's say hello to some of the new people. It's good to have you in here. If you're somebody who doesn't know a whole lot about fundamentals, but you'd like to learn, this is the place to do it. We bring on a lot of great talent to the show, as guest speakers, and have a lot of great conversations with people like Ivan, who is in the chat right now, Kenzo on Friday. We have Chris Pulver who comes on. We bring in a lot of macroeconomic guys. And ladies, if we could find them, but they're hard to find. There's a couple out there. My personal favorite one is Kathy Lean. If you know her, she from BK Traders. She is remarkable in her fundamentals. She's probably one of the most fundamentally sound traders that I can think of. But we try and bring it all together here on the channel. And I just want to thank everybody who is a regular viewer. I'm just a lurker. What's up, lurker? Become a regular. Let's upgrade you from a lurker to a regular viewer, regular stream participant. Yeah, welcome everybody who is new. And yeah, so pound here, again, we talk fundamentals very frequently. Most traders, they only ever focus on charts, and charts are great, don't get me wrong, but it is not the only thing that matters. Also, Adele, I can see that you want me to look at the Euro USD, and I will get to the Euro. Trust me, please be patient with me. I've got a lot of charts and a lot of things to do here on the stream running side of things, so please be patient. I'm going to get to the Euro for sure. Patience is a virtue, my friend. Christian says, I improved a lot of my trading because of you, Nick, and your EDGEFINDER. Thank you, Christian. I'm glad to hear that. Shout out to you for making progress in your trading. EDGEFINDER is best. Heinrich, thank you very much for that kind comment. So big slip to the downside here for the pound today. How do I approach this? Retests. But the problem is, here's the tough side of my job. It's really not that tough, but it is something that you have to do as a trader. This move to the downside in the pound, very, very good bearish move. But there's nothing I can do down here. I'm not going to buy it. The fundamentals look super bearish. I'm not going to sell it because it's already made its move. I am going to patiently wait for a pullback on the pound USD. So if we draw our fibs in here, where do we get some interest? We don't really get interest until like the 61.8% at the very least. Now, here's the thing. That may not sound very exciting because you're like, well, that doesn't mean I can take a trade anytime soon. Yeah, that's reality of trading. Maybe what you want to do is maybe you want to set alerts for this 61.8% and watch to see if it lines up with this trend line. But again, great traders are not, just chucking out trades constantly. Great traders are waiting for the right setups, and they're waiting for the market to come to them, not the other way around, right? So, you don't want to chase this move, in my opinion. I'm not buying it because, again, could you trade the retest? Maybe, but that is a really hard battle to fight. You're battling, fundamentals, which, by the way, I'm saying I like a pullback. I'm not saying I think a pullback is certain. This market could just fall apart for the next day and a half before it starts to bounce, or longer. For me, what I'm looking for is a pullback. And if it happens, great. I might take a chance to take that as an opportunity to short. Again, EDGEFINDER has been super bearish. EDGEFINDER fans, this is kind of a win for us. If you've been watching the pound, oh my gosh, it's the strongest reading on the sell side, and it has been for a while. And look at the moves. Euro, same thing. Aussie, same thing. Kiwi, same thing. These things are getting super bearish readings right now. And it is incredibly cool to see how well the EDGEFINDER is calling out shots recently. It's been very bullish on oil. Didn't work out for me on my first trade, but oil has overall been a very nice setup for the EDGEFINDER in the last few weeks. If you've been trading oil on the long side, I'll show you guys this just to show you what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can pull up the historical back test. We are doing some maintenance on it, so we'll see if it works properly today, but let's do this. So I'm going to show you guys, when I say the EDGEFINDER has been calling something out, I'm not just making that up. I can show you the historical readings of the EDGEFINDER because we've built that function into the software. So look at this. The EDGEFINDER has been calling for a bullish setup on oil since like September, pretty much all of September. All of September has been a very strong bullish reading for oil off the EDGEFINDER. Let's go back test that for a second. So September rolls around right here. So the EDGEFINDER started calling for bullish setups right as this market was starting to break out, and it's been bullish all of September. Now, the reason I'm showing you that is not to brag, is not to be like, look how amazing the software it is. It's because if you're going to be talking about a software, if I'm showing you guys something that I'm using in my trading, collectively as a community, it's really important to actually be able to test how well that system is calling out trades. So another one we could do is the pound. Let's look at the pound. I mentioned that the pound USD has been a bearish signal for a while. Let's go look at the readings. Look at this. It's just knocked the pound dollar out of the park. It's been bearish all the way back from August 22nd and has consistently been on the right side of this trade. We can go to pound USD, August 22nd. I mean, look at this. August 22nd is right around here. So right over here, it was calling for a bearish continuation. That one trade would have been a massive winner if you just held it the whole time. Now, that's not even including if you were in there buying and selling, or I'm sorry, shorting it, riding it, getting in, getting out, and riding that on the short side. Had you only taken short side trades for this period of time, it would have been hard to mess that up. Right? There's so many great opportunities to be short in the pound in the last few weeks. And the EDGEFINDER has been pretty bearish the whole time. The point is, guys, the EDGEFINDER, it takes into account lots of factors that we as individuals, you can do it by hand, but it will take you all day long. It takes into account the commitment of traders' data, the retail sentiment, seasonality, trend readings, GDP growth, inflation, unemployment numbers, interest rates. It takes into account macroeconomics, sentiment in the markets, and it generates through its algorithm basically the different biases that it has. So I'm bullish on oil, I'm bearish on the euro, bearish on the pound. I use this as my confirmation tool every single day. And yes, it is something we sell. So is this a sales pitch? Kind of, but honestly, it is something I genuinely use myself. And so I would not sell something that I don't believe in, right? So I really, really love this tool. It's something we've worked really hard to build. Anyways, we're still bearish indices for the time being. That's another side of this. And this has also kept me out of some phenomenally terrible short side moves in the market. So what I mean by that is I haven't been bullish on indices, which is a trade I love to do. And yet the EDGEFINDER being bearish has completely kept me out of taking bad longs, right? So another reason why the EDGEFINDER is just recently on fire. So it's been really cool to watch. Anyways, guys, we have news coming in. Let me not mess this up. We got breaking news coming in right now. We're looking at unemployment claims to see if markets continue to be volatile here this morning. Check it out. All right, guys, and we've got just numbers should be coming in here. The Fed manufacturing index as well as unemployment claims likely to cause some stir in the markets. S&P continuing to push a little bit lower. Let's take a look at the dollar together, and then we'll look at gold. Look at this. Dollar just does not want to quit here. Dollar flying high. Jacob says, can I know more about the EDGEFINDER? Yeah, let's drop a link. If you guys would like to chat with us, get more information about the EDGEFINDER, you can speak with someone on my staff. who can set you up with a copy. If you'd like a copy, click right here. It is not a free product, but it's something, if you'd like more information, you can chat with us. Unemployment claims came out, guys, less than expected, just slightly here. This is a reasonable difference than what was expected. So less jobs, less people filing for unemployment. That is dollar bullish. And the Fed manufacturing index in the red, so probably a little dollar bearish. So overall, the claims are going to probably reign supreme here. And there it is, the 105.73. I mean, dollar bullishness seems to just be back on the table. And that's wild to see. So again, NASDAQ selling off here. Look at this. NASDAQ is just taking a beating here this morning. Rough ride to the downside. You know, if you're a bear on the indices, these levels that we marked on our charts yesterday totally look bearish, right? If you're bearish on the indices, S&P pull back to that 61.8 looks good. If you're watching the NASDAQ pull back to the 61.8% looks great, right? These look like sell setups right now. The market is very, very weak, and that is interesting. How do you know when the market turns? You don't know for sure. You never do, right? There's no certainty. Technical analysis, fundamentals, nothing is a certain, guaranteed, holy grail indicator of what the price is going to do next. We take into account lots of factors here on the show and in my trading, and that's how I find setups. So in this case, these things look bearish according to the EDGEFINDER's confirmation signals, and we also like the technical analysis here, the 61.8. These are bearish charts, and I think they're bearish for good reason. Taking a look at gold now, guys. Gold completely fell apart yesterday, and I'm really, I'm jealous of Frank. Frank caught the short. Let me show you guys this. So if we go over to the signals room, Frank is holding on to a wonderful short here. He's trailed into profit already. He sold this after yesterday's debacle, and he caught a perfect sell on the gold market. We talked about it on the show. I told him I wasn't ready. I needed to see, breakouts. We're starting to see the breakout now, and Frank caught it early. He was in here selling this rally, and props to him. Frank it's a brave trade. I thought the price action looked a little too bullish. Like if I'm looking at this right here, too bullish for me. But sellers are strong, and fundamentals, the EDGEFINDER again reign supreme on this one. Bearish signals from the EDGEFINDER seem to be coming in strong here this morning. So yeah. If this level breaks for gold bulls, I think sellers just take control again. So watch this level very closely, guys, here. If bears sell underneath here, could be a very intriguing thing to keep an eye on going forward. Yeah. Yeah. Don't you think COT and tracking the news numbers like CPI, GDP is redundant? I'm saying this because the institutions are using it, so tracking them all alone is enough. That's a great question, Sibonello. I hope I say your name right. Let me try. Sibonello. Let me say this. You're totally right. Watching the COT data can be a very powerful indicator of what the professionals are thinking. The problem with COT and why it is not the only thing I pay attention to. Trust me, commitment of traders data, I love using it. I use it all the time. The problem with COT, the biggest weakness is that this data comes out 3 days, 3 days delayed. We on the COT data, what we get is we get Tuesday's data. We get it on Fridays. Okay, the EDGEFINDER tracks the COT data, which comes out once a week on Fridays, and it only reports Tuesday's positionings. The reason that is important is it's still valuable information. We use it all the time to get an idea of general positioning, but it's in some ways it's lagging. We're not getting the instantaneous, here's what they're doing right now. Whereas if we track and we understand the macroeconomics, the inflation figures, the interest rate decisions, the unemployment claims like we saw today, if the EDGEFINDER's algorithm or brain or AI or whatever you want to call it, if it factors those things in instantaneously, very quickly, and calculates it into the algorithm, we're going to have that much more tight of a system, that much more tight of an algorithm to help us find better setups. That is the whole point of the EDGEFINDER. I mentioned this earlier, guys. If you would like a discounted copy of the EDGEFINDER, you can message us using the link in the chat right now. Our team is standing by and fully able to hook you up with some special stream discounts, as well as get you set up with a copy and answer any questions you might have about the EDGEFINDER. We have a lot of people picked up copies in the last few weeks. And if you are not one of them, take advantage. We got some discounts going on right now. And the Edge Finder has just been absolutely on fire. Look at this gold move, guys. We're breaking out of support. That's a big deal. 1915 coming into play. And that is super interesting to see. Again, Edge Finder was bearish on gold. I waited for price action to sort of reverse, and now we're starting to see it. So for gold bulls out there, if we get something like this, right? I like that a lot. Gold sells could be interesting underneath the lows. Benjamin says, I don't use COT as it's lagging. Can be misleading. So Benjamin, yeah, it totally, see, that's the thing. For like scalpers, it might not be interesting, but for day traders and swing traders, COT is still very valuable. You might say, well, not for day traders. Actually, yes, for day traders. Because if you know, I'll show you guys something. Look at this. Let's look at Smart Money Tracker. I'll show you something how day traders could use COT. Yes, this is sort of delayed, and it shows us the higher time frame positioning of institutional money, right? We could track that in the Smart Money Tracker. But look at what was said about gold. In the recent filing, the Edge Finder's pretty, one of its strengths is showing the latest report, the latest data that we have in detail. And look at this. If we look at gold and silver, we saw in the metals department, strong selling in the last report. So if we know strong selling is kind of present on the higher time frames, day traders can take that into account and say, okay, higher time frames might experience some sell-off. We totally saw that happen. So Edge Finder was able to point that out to us. Not only that, day traders now can look at that and say, there's likelihood that there could be some continuation to that higher time frame push. And so breakouts, retests, these moves are more valid for day traders, right? That's kind of how I use it. I'm not necessarily like a short-term day trader, but I'm kind of like in between a swing trader and a day trader. I trade like the hourly charts and the 4-hour chart for kind of trend direction. So yeah, it's totally useful information to both day traders and swing traders, in my opinion. And, you know, so we'll keep an eye on that. Again, dollar reaction here is pretty bullish in the last few days. I know that the Edge Fund has been pretty bearish on euro dollar. It's been bearish on pound dollar. Things have been really, really good, pushing to the downside. And I would say if you're watching euro, watch for the breakout here, because if this breaks out, again, the Edge Finder has been consistently bearish on the euro for some time. If this level breaks here, it's just business as usual, in my opinion. So what I mean by that is if this level breaks, selling retests is the way I'd be looking at it. So let's just say we get a break, and let's say we get like a move down to like 105.76, right? We get that push underneath support, retests, sells. That's how I would trade it. So yeah. Marcus says, yes, Nick, I like day trading, knowing that I have the support of the higher time frames. Yeah, and that's the value of the COT, right? So even if you're a day trader, totally valuable information. Agree with you for sure on the higher time frame assessment. I don't think it's super useful though if you're looking for more rare reversals. Yeah, if you're like a day trader, like scalper reversal stuff, maybe not useful to you. But again, I also find that strategy or that style of trading to be quite difficult. But again, to each their own, you know, like some people trade reversals, some people trade trend continuations like myself, breakouts, all sorts of different ways to trade. Did gold react to the pound bank rate news? Gold selling, I would say, is probably a reaction in large part to the dollar strength. We had what was referred to yesterday as a hawkish hold, which is essentially the idea that the central bank in the United States, the Federal Reserve, expects to keep interest rates elevated for a prolonged period of time. And high rates for a long time, dollar strength, right? That's just high interest rates, just generally speaking, for the dollar. Higher interest rates, rising interest rates, elevated interest rates, anything that's like higher is going to generally be very dollar bullish. What has caused in recent months before this weakness in the dollar was the expectation that things were going to kind of cool down. Well, inflation still seems to be a stubborn problem, and the US economy is still red hot, which does lead to more inflationary problems. And so the Fed is like, yeah, we're not cutting rates for a while. And that has the dollar super bullish. And so for me, same thing. I'm bullish on the dollar until proven otherwise. I am a go with the flow trader when it comes to fundamental trends. I'm not trying to call a bluff, I am very much, the Fed is sticking to this. I am sticking to it too. That's how I'm going to trade this. And so is the EDGEFINDER's programming. The EDGEFINDER, all this data that comes in, my goal with the EDGEFINDER is to get it to be so good at pulling in data that I don't even have to be on stream, or I don't even have to be reading through this stuff to understand totally what's going on. The EDGEFINDER is getting smarter every day. We are working on the algorithm behind it every day. But the idea is it gets smarter and smarter at pulling economic data to the point that it automatically assesses every situation and can basically generate biases for me. And then I can just use my technical analysis. My goal is to get back to purely technical with EDGEFINDER confirmations, right? Because I know the EDGEFINDER will help me with the fundamentals and give me those confirmations that are so vital to finding the right trades in my experience. So like I said earlier, if you guys would like a copy of the EDGEFINDER, the link will be dropped in the chat right now. Message us. Someone in our staff here, we have a couple people who are trained to answer questions about the EDGEFINDER to get people set up with copies. We have some stream discounts that are available. If you message us right now, take advantage. Don't miss it. Click the link in the chat. When you click this link, it will take you to a direct message center where you can speak with someone on our staff. So this is what it looks like. It's a real person, not a robot, not like an automated system. You'll speak with a real person. So just put your name in, put the EDGEFINDER discounts. You could tour it if you want to, if you have some questions, someone on our team will help you out with that, so on and so forth. Guys, we're going to bring in Marko here in just a moment. We're going to take a look at some charts together and see if we can find some additional setups. Always good to bring in other commentating voices, other people with different ideas. So we'll bring in Marko in just a moment. Before we do that, we're going to just thank our sponsors by rolling a quick clip showing off our partnered broker, our sponsored broker, 8cap. So check this out, a word from our sponsor right now.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans, if you're interested in getting free access to the EDGEFINDER or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker 8cap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to 8cap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right, and we are back with a stream regular, Mr. Marko. Hey, Marko, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I am good. And Marko, we've got a couple things on the radar. Of course, in terms of market news, we just had unemployment claims that came out, shook up the market a little bit, causing some volatility. Another story, well, actually, this has been consistent for the last couple streams together, Marko. I think we've seen dollar bullishness just be so consistent. And I'd love to get your idea. I know you trade a couple USD pairs, and quick introduction for viewers. Marko comes on every week. We do this every Thursday. We call it Technical Thursdays, where we take a look at some technical charts with Marko and usually Miko, but he couldn't make it this week. But in this segment, what we'll do is we'll go through some charts together, talk about setups, and see if there's anything that looks really good. So Marko, we'll let you share your screen here, and that way you can go through some of the pairs that you've got. I know that Marko, you trade a couple unique currency pair specific USD cross and a couple of yen crosses that you really like. So feel free to take the floor for a minute.
Sure. So my eyes are currently on some of the Japanese pairs as well as on the pound. So I do trade these 6 pairs. For me, EU, I need to see momentum continue. Right now, I'm seeing a bit of this slowdown right here. So I'm seeing a bit of range-bound price action on the bottom of this move. So I would like to see more momentum. To be honest, I want to see momentum kick back in to the downside. So this impulse, something like this, I would like to see. For EJ, I'm seeing also a bit of range bound price action as well, just not showing me much potential. Again, we had this large impulse and then we are just kind of ranging around inside of it. One thing I can see on maybe on the lower scale is this little bit of an ascending on the top. So I have expected this to reverse to a downside. Unfortunately, I did not get an opportunity to enter a nice short trade. So yeah, currently just waiting for more momentum. Then we have the Aussie US dollar. So we do have this V formation right here. And I know in most cases when I get this sort of a V, price will actually continue in the direction of the second leg and we will continue to start a nice downtrend. So what I'm looking for, I'm seeing if we can get a nice impulse here and then I would be very interested for a sell setup. I was looking to sell right here as well, but I did not get my entry set up. AJ, for this one, definitely trending down. I can see 3 consecutive strong bearish legs. The pullbacks are showing me no momentum shift, so very little buying pressure. And I'm 100% looking to get in on either a flag formation here on a nice break and a retest. So this pair is the best out of all of the 6 that I have on my watch list. The pound, larger scale descending, so I am expecting overall this to reverse and start an uptrend. But for now, on the lower scale, I am seeing potentially this giving us a nice move to a downside. But especially on the pound, I need to see a really large impulse. I need to see large consecutive bearish or bullish candles because this pair just likes to do these sort of smaller moves and these kind of have no follow through. So what I'm looking for in the pound is something like this leg, or maybe this bearish leg as well. So you can see just the size of it is very, very large compared to the other candles. And finally, New Zealand Japanese yen. I'm seeing a larger scale ascending channel, after which I do expect the price to reverse in the opposite direction. But I need to see that nice conviction. And currently I'm seeing some bullish pressure in this downtrend as well. So I don't like to see these big blue candles. That's not really a good sign if the market is trending down. So what I'm looking for is potentially for this to continue just a little bit more and then give me a nice entry, a nice flag, or a nice break, and they retest. So to recap, EU, not seeing anything. EJ, range bound. AU, I want to see a push to the downside, then I would look to sell. AJ, definitely seeing potential, and I'm looking to sell right now. The pound, I want to see more momentum down, and NJ, same, want to see more momentum down. So that's kind of it for me. Japanese pairs are my main focus. So AJ is my main focus, but I'm definitely seeing movement on the dollar pairs as well.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And again, each trader who is watching the show, Marko, it's important to kind of clarify that when we bring on guests to the show, Marko, you trade some yen crosses, you trade, the Australian dollar versus the Japanese yen. That's a currency pair that I personally will rarely trade, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not totally viable to trade. It's just that each person, I know another thing, like you don't really trade indices and gold, whereas for me, that's like an area of a lot of my focus. That's where I, put primarily my trading capital to use. And so it's always interesting when we bring on guests and we ask people to, go through the charts to see which things they gravitate to, because it is a good testament to just show there are many ways to find, a profitable way to trade the markets. There's not just kind of like the one and only way. So it's cool to see that. I will ask you, Marko, all of this dollar cross stuff is causing some big moves in gold and the indices. And because that is kind of my area of interest, I'm going to just ask you what do you think about gold? What if, I know you don't trade it, but in terms of price action, what are you seeing right now? Because I know a lot of people are very curious about it.
So I can take a look at the 1 hour chart. Currently what I'm seeing on this 1 hour is, again, this V reversal. So what I know from my price action reading is usually this starts a nice downtrend like this. So I would not be surprised if this moves down even more. And again, I'm seeing that bearish momentum continue as well. in these legs right here. But for me to sell, I would need to see a bit more follow through. So maybe one more bearish candle and then a nice flag formation or a nice break and a retest of the most recent low. So for gold, I'm seeing a definite potential to the downside, and then we can maybe do the S&P, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. Any version of indices, you could do S&P, NASDAQ, whatever you think would be interesting.
Sure. So for the S&P, definitely a strong downtrend for me personally, and this is one of the cleanest downtrends I have actually seen. I'm seeing very strong legs. This is kind of the best scenario for me personally as a trend trader, especially with these small pullbacks showing me absolutely no shift in momentum. That's kind of the best scenario. So this one, definite bearish pressure, and I would 100% expect more downside.
Yeah, no, and one of the things, just to touch briefly for a moment, Marko, on what kind of happened yesterday. I'm sure you were watching some of the charts go mad yesterday. The basic idea was that stock market has been really optimistic this year, from the idea that the Fed would see inflation was coming down very nicely. Inflation was on the right path, and the idea would be the Fed would back off on all the interest rate hikes. Well, what we got kind of confirmation from yesterday, which is putting pressure on a lot of these charts. Even if you don't trade fundamentals, I do think it is useful to understand how they are driving the markets to cause trends for even purely technical traders to know, like, hey, this is coming. Well, basically the idea was yesterday the Fed said they plan to keep interest rates elevated for a suspended period of time. They're not afraid to interest rate hike further, and all of that put some serious, it basically was a big buzzkill to the stock market, who was expecting things to kind of no longer see that. So in terms of technical trends, the reason I like to combine fundamentals in some way is that tells me that technical trends are slightly more likely to continue nicely, right? Because it's like those are real pressures that are going to take, you got to think, Marko, if somebody is like a hedge fund manager and they have just like $1 billion under management that they need to move out of the stock market because they don't like that, that's going to be a suspended amount of selling for a prolonged period of time. So technicals are producing some really clean moves. And like you mentioned, that S&P 500 chart is like the cleanest. Look at the regimented red candles. That is just like and I know you yourself, when you don't trade the S&P, but you
I might
generally
start after these moves.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is such a clean move. I have not seen such, we've had sell-offs recently, but this is like the first just like all red, clean move one direction. You've had these like choppy downward moves, some sporadic sell-offs, but this is just, it's uncharacteristic of recent price action. And again, fundamentals really showing their teeth here today, I think, with just a clear decision from the Fed. They're not going to roll over quickly. So interesting stuff. What else? So the Aussie yen, that's a clear chart for you. Did you already do dollar yen? Did I get something mixed up?
I actually don't trade dollar yen, but I can take a look.
Yeah, if you don't mind, because I know somebody in the chat was mentioning UJ looks really interesting, and I know it's moved a lot recently with all the Fed stuff as well.
So for me, on the 1 hour dollar yen, to be honest, I'm seeing range-bound price action. And because I'm such a short-term trader, not a short-term trader, but I do my analysis in the last couple of days of price action, this to me is just flat. I can see some movement, but it's very volatile. So I don't really like it when the markets do this sort of price action. This may be more suitable for maybe a range-bound trader, but for me as a trend trader, I don't really see a clean trend on this particular pair.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand and get that for sure. That hourly chart is pretty messy. It's back and forth, especially compared to some of those other yen crosses, Marko, that you showed us. Like Aussie yen looks so much cleaner.
AJ is looking very clean. So you can definitely see a difference between this sort of a leg and the one that we just saw. Is how do the impulses look like, and also how do the pullbacks look like? So when the pullbacks are small, when the pullbacks have no buying pressure, if we're looking at a downtrend, that's telling me that most likely there are very little buyers in this market, and this market is very likely to continue trending down. And also yesterday I actually got taken out for some slippage as well on EU. I was in a long right here, and once the news kicked in, so right about here, once the news kicked in, I actually got taken out for -2% instead of 1%. So again, it is what it is. That's what happens, but that's something that traders need to adjust and also take into account when they're back testing. There will be some scenarios where you will get taken out for more than you planned, right?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is back testing is imperfect in some ways, because at the end of the day, you don't get absolutely real, market experience. It is the closest thing you can get, and it's super valuable to do. But it is not. There's nothing quite like perfect execution in the real markets. And I think also that brings up another point I just want to say is, if you're somebody who's like, well, then what do I do? Well, demo accounts on the right types of brokers, real brokerages, will give you an accurate representation for the most part of what live trading, the live trading environment will look like in terms of execution, slippage, spreads, commissions, all that stuff. So even once you have a trading strategy that has back tested well and you're happy with it, and you'd like to try it out, the next step in my view is to then forward test, which is testing on a demo account diligently and putting in the time to really test a live environment. But always going to be slip ups, mistakes. I mean, Marko, we've been doing this for a while. Everybody makes mistakes and it happens. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course. And I also had a question for you. I have been thinking about this. So you're mostly trading levels and fundamentals, but do you also take into account different patterns in the market? So for example, I am mostly a pattern trader, also momentum, but mostly patterns. So do you also have some like pattern setups you like to trade, or just levels?
That's a good question. So for me, do you mean candlestick specific patterns, or do you mean more like a head and shoulders, like
Yeah,
which?
exactly. Head and shoulders, cup and handle, stuff like that.
So the ones that I personally prefer to pay closer attention to are usually continuation patterns. And that's why, the simplest pattern in the world is the break and retest. And that's why I use it so frequently. Like, have a level of resistance, it's in an uptrend, it breaks out, that level becomes support. So I guess in some cases you could say that is a pattern. I mark up my levels, and then I'm looking for the pattern, that breakout, that retest, to actually execute my trade. And sometimes, Marko, like, people will I guess tease my technical analysis for being like not advanced enough, or not talented enough, I guess, or whatever. But you mentioned it earlier, a large component, 70%, I would say 60 to 70% of trades that I take are based on fundamentals and sentiment in the markets. And then that last 30 to 40% is trade execution using a technical chart. But I really, like yourself, we keep it relatively simple. We know what we're looking for, technical moves. We have different entry styles. You use patterns, and you're looking for, momentum that is clear and evident in the market. I am as well, but I'm really looking for that, retracement. And so, again, just a testament to what we said earlier, guys. People trade different charts, different strategies. What is consistent among profitable traders is doing their research, their homework, and their back testing. So great question, Marko.
And also, I think in the end, we kind of get in very similar moves, because I remember last week you got in on a gold short, right? And I shorted EU. And so it was kind of a very similar trade, the strength of the dollar, right? So in the end, I think it kind of balances out, and we find ourselves in very similar moves.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And, there are some variations between the gold market and the euro, but as you mentioned, the common denominator is the dollar, and that dollar, especially recently, it's been, you know, the king of the driver of any USD cross right now is the dollar. Sometimes you get, barring perhaps the pound, which even if the dollar was super weak today, the pound would probably also be weak due to the strong fundamental factor that happened this morning, where we had, you know, a rate hold instead of a hike, which what was expected. So all of that to say, Marko, different styles, different strategies. What matters is that you backtest and that you spend time preparing your stuff before you get in the live markets. And I hope that someone in the audience, by listening to Marko and myself talk about this, I hope it inspires you to open up some backtesting, you know, softwares or whatever you do, TradingView, MT4, and really take some time to practice what you're doing, because I don't know about you, Marko, but backtesting has certainly saved me a lot of heartache and losses in my trading.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's the most important part. I mean, it's crucial. You can't skip it. I don't know anyone who skips backtesting and becomes successful. So yeah.
And what's crazy to me, Marko, is that people hear us say that, and this is frustrating to me. And I hope that someone in the audience feels gaslit by this, because I am trying to gaslight you. If you hear Marko and I say backtesting is critical to every profitable trader, and you look at yourself right now as I'm saying this and you say, I haven't really spent hours backtesting, what are you doing? How serious are you? Are you serious enough to take the, like, are you trying to become a profitable trader? Because if you have not taken the time to backtest thoroughly, it's impossible to become profitable. I think like
100%.
Marko mentioned it, I mentioned it, it's game changer.
100%.
Yeah. And again, and I'm being harsh because like, I'm being like so straight up about that. Like, you will never become profitable if you don't do it, because so many people are like, you know, that sounds boring. It sounds tedious. Like, I promise you'll just lose money in the markets if you don't. So I'm hoping that Marko and I are scaring you a little bit into doing it, because it's so important.
Yeah. And if you don't like backtesting and if you don't want to do it, I mean, are you really committed to trading?
Yeah.
I mean, is it really for you? It's crucial. You have to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. So if somebody in the audience, if you have the bravery, the honesty, and the courage to say to yourself, I haven't backtested thoroughly, and yet I'm trading on a live account. If you have the humility to acknowledge that, save yourself. Nobody else is going to save you, but trading on with a live account when you haven't done the research is like a doctor doing a surgery who hasn't gone to medical school. It's stupidity. Do not do it. So yeah. Anyways, Marko, I'm on my ranting here today with the help of you. I know this is a passionate topic for both of us, but we'll leave it there.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, Marko, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Before we go, guys, Marko is a great person. If you have not already followed Marko on his YouTube channel, he's a great person to follow for trading tips, for ideas, things that he's looking at. All of that can be found using his YouTube channel, which is Marko's Trading Journey, which we've just linked in the chat right here. Click this link. Please go subscribe to Marko. Again, support the guests that come on to make these shows what they are, and support us here at A1 Trading for putting on these shows by hitting that thumbs up button on the stream as well, and subscribe if you're new. Marko, thank you very much for coming on, and we will see you back next week.
Thank you very much. See you next week. Goodbye.
See ya. Yeah. So again, guys, I'm glad one of the big things that Marko and I talk about often is backtesting. He's a big proponent of it. I am as well. And I do hope that someone heard us talk about that and they are going to stop trading on a live account until they figure this stuff out. Part of the reason that I'm so passionate about that topic is because I am personally, emotionally invested in saying that to you guys, because you cannot imagine how many people have sent me painful messages saying, Nick, I have just lost so much money in the markets. I've just messed around and gambled my way to nothing, and I don't know what I'm doing. So I've heard so many horror stories from so many people who have been really hurt by the markets, not doing the research. And so that is why I'm passionate enough to say, have the humility to go do it. And if you haven't, be very honest with yourself. I hope that was helpful. If you don't know how to backtest, I have some videos on it. Just search up Trader Nick backtesting. I've done, some thorough explanations. We also have a sponsor that I want to real quick say something about. If you guys are very dedicated and very serious, check out Forex Tester. They are one of our sponsors here. Chandler, could you grab a link from the description here of this video? It should be down there for you guys if you'd like to grab it. There is a link that will take you to Forex Tester, which is our preferred sponsor and an amazing backtesting software that we've partnered up with. You'll get discounted copies if you sign up with our promo code. And again, highly recommend that if you have not done backtesting, this software speeds up the process tremendously and super valuable resources. So please use this link. Thank you, Chandler, for that. Nick6, that's a discount for you. Click that link. Nick6 will get you 10% off of Forex Tester, which is a phenomenal software. I highly, highly recommend. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up the show. Last thing I will say, remember, if you want copies of the EDGEFINDER, which is our proprietary trading software that helps us look at economic data and find trading setups, please click the link in the chat as well. We'll drop a link to our chat where you can chat with someone on our staff to get a copy for a discounted stream discount. So anyways, guys, click that link. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's video or today's live stream. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you haven't done it yet, make sure you're back testing today. Have a great day, guys. See you next time.
Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. And if you create a new trading account with ACAP, you can get tools like the EDGEFINDER completely for free. Check the link in the description for more information. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.